Hey, Rudy, you know what the cracker said to Dave Chappelle?
No.
I'm Ritz, bits. All right. The Roller Out the Barrel Vintage Baseball podcast talking to people in the vintage baseball community from coast to coast, border to border. Great guest this week. Joined by the way, I always forget this part. Do you people know who the hell I am? I am the barrel roller, Matthew Bernard, joined by my co-host, the Shangri-La of the Lalas, Rudy Swampbox Frias. Rudy, how you doing?
Hey, barrel roller. It's so good to see you.
Rudy was as usual 15 minutes late today, but you know what? It's hard. It's hard to complain about a guy who's helping out with his son's t-ball team. How exactly am I supposed to insult the man on the air? I did it all off the air.
It was masterful too. Masterfully done.
Rudy, good to see you. T-ball has started. How is the life of a newfound coach of his son? What's it like?
Coach is a little. You don't coach t-ball. You aim t-ball. So I'm gonna. I'm go. It's going well. I'm just excited that there's an interest in it, and I am bribing. The last season was bubblegum. This season, Gatorade. So we're moving on up.
Yeah, that reminds me of how you and I are going to enjoy some orange slices at the Akron Cup, or orange slice moonshine anyway. Speaking of the Akron Cup, coming up on July 8th and 9th in Akron, Ohio at the Stan Hewitt Hall and Gardens. We're also doing the Mightiest Striker and the Gingerly Gentleman. Rudy got a look at the posters and the championship belt for the Gingerly Gentleman today. Of course, the Mightiest Striker wins the Mighty Mallet that's being built as we speak by somebody who knows what they're doing, not me. Next week's show. This is news for Rudy because I never tell him anything. You got a whole week to think about it this time, Rudy. It's Bob Bear of the Iron Horses of the Erie Railway, and we have a warm-up with the Temecula Deer Brothers Baseball Club from California. So full show next week. I think we've hit on just about everything. Rudy, did we miss something?
We did not. We had the audience. The listeners are all caught up.
All right, so let's bring in our guest. He's an author. He's a vintage baseball enthusiast. He's a nerd, probably. I don't know this. He's shaking his head. Yes. We have a history of nerds on this show. Rudy's kind of a nerd in a way. I am too. Here he is, all the way from Missouri, Jack Pelikan. Did I say that right, Jack?
You did. You did. Yeah. It's like the bird, but with a K instead of a C.
Well, I'm always afraid when I see your name to sound it like Pelican, because I'm like, if it's not Pelican, he's tired of hearing Pelican.
It could be worse. I think it's Czech, but I don't know. I'm like fifth generation St. Louis.
Oh.
So, Jack, welcome to the show. You were brave enough to admit you've actually listened to a couple episodes of this garbage. Thanks, Jack.
Oh, I wouldn't call it garbage. It's very, very entertaining, and actually was a huge good piece of intel when I was doing some research on the book, particularly on your episode with Scott Tiny Hamlin of the Black Stockings.
You're right. It's not garbage. I just have to say that. But we appreciate you using us as a source piece because Rudy, that's why we do this, right? I mean, sure, we throw in some entertainment, but we want to be a source for vintage baseball, right, Rudy?
That's right. We do it for the kids.
No, you do fair fouls for the kids, Rudy. Oh. You're getting this all mixed up.
No. Yeah, you're right. Very good point.
Okay, Jack, we're here mainly to talk to you, but you have a book that just came out, or actually, is it in pre-sale right now?
No, it's out. I think it officially released on May 2nd.
Okay, so we're going to let you give the spiel for the book that you've probably given so many times you don't even have to think about what you're about to say. So give us the book, the book speech, and then we'll talk about from the beginning process of how this all started.
Sure. Hopefully I don't run long. You can hit the wrap it up
No,
button if need
you
be.
have all the time
Please.
you want, Jack. You go. You have all the time.
All right. So vintage baseball's enduring legacy is really a story of 19th century baseball then and now. So what do I mean by that? So break it down. The book is really split into three parts. So, part one is a condensed history of baseball's pioneer era, circa 1840, 1870, where the game really evolved from, a niche hobby among New Yorkers to, America's pastime. And, I get into some of those, contributing events like the Civil War and clubs like the Knickerbockers and the 1869 Cincinnati Red Stockings, and of course, some of the influential people like Henry Chadwick and Doc Adams. So, part one really just establishes context on that era that, a lot of today's vintage clubs are seeking to recreate. And then before I get into the vintage baseball community in part three itself, part two is kind of a bridge for that century plus gap between when, the pioneer era ended around 1870 and then when, vintage baseball's revival really took off in Long Island and Columbus. Every ballist has their own reasons for, why they got into vintage ball. But, part two gets into some of the, trends of baseball over the past 120 plus years with the professional game from, some of the seismic shifts around, collective bargaining and free agency and labor stoppages to just some of the added complexities with, with analytics and, increasing usage of technology and even some of the scandals that came out of that, like Hackgate and Codebreaker. And then also just, getting into the whole, polarizing topic of tanking and competitive balancing. So, really just kind of exploring the rapid adaptation of modern baseball and how that's kind of fragmented the fan base and motivated some to seek the game back in its pure form. And lastly, part three is a deep dive into today's vintage baseball community. Of course, I have a chapter on the Old Bethpage and Ohio Village programs and their role in kind of bringing the game back. But then I tried to take a fairly diverse cross section of clubs from different parts of the country, portraying different eras. Each club's chapter is more than just stats and records. It's really the baseball history of the places that they come from and the 19th century clubs that they're recreating. And then just the human interest side of things with, interviews with the club captains and, what the game means to them and their surrounding communities. So, it's really hard to tell the whole story of the 400 plus clubs that play vintage ball. But, with these clubs covered, you can see a common thread, around their commitment to historical preservation and sportsmanship, the overall sense of community and camaraderie that they share with one another. And then lastly, there are some special features, dozen or so photos from different clubs, a whole chronological table of rule changes by year, as it's often very difficult to track even for ballists themselves. And then, with the VBA's permission, printed a, dictionary of terms, which, is part of the fun of it all. So that's it in a nutshell. Hopefully, that does it justice.
Well, you used about 7 teams or clubs as reference in the book. Does that mean there's 400 clubs to deal with? Are we looking forward to about 32 sequels to the book?
If I had the time, I would, but I've got a couple jobs and 2 kids under the age of 7. So, how much time I got.
It's a
Rudy
miracle.
knows how much time.
I was about to say it's a miracle that you even produced the book. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, like so many hobbies, it started as kind of a pandemic lockdown hobby. Kids go to bed, start plugging away, and just kicking the tires. I always wanted to write a book, and I don't think I'm creative or eccentric enough for fiction. So I thought nonfiction was the way to go, and I wanted it to be a project. If I'm going to put in all the time and research, it's got to be something I love. And I get into the book how I stumbled upon vintage baseball about 10 years ago in my neighborhood at the time, Lafayette Square, and it always kind of left a positive impression, and just seeing those games, and then just how the folks that I reached out to, this relative outsider, just opened up, poured out their souls, and just gave incredible content, just took me in under their wing. So I think that just speaks to the community that vintage baseball is.
Tell everybody, so we don't forget, we'll probably do it a couple more times, but tell everybody where they can go and purchase this book right now.
Sure. Well, like everything, it's on Amazon in ebook and paperback. No hardcover, sorry, but also available on the publisher's website, Poco Press, which is POCOL Press, one word, .com. So can get it either place, but paperbacks on the publisher site. I think the shipping is cheaper, and then again, you can get the ebook or paperback on Amazon as well.
So you said you didn't run across vintage baseball until about 10 years ago. That was with the St. Louis Lafayette Square Cyclones. They were obviously located close. How did you run across them, in your everyday life? And what was your experience like when you first dipped your toe in the water of seeing vintage baseball?
Yeah. So, at the time I was living in the Lafayette Square neighborhood. It's about 2 miles southwest of downtown St. Louis, about 2 miles from Busch Stadium where the Cardinals play. And, really cool community. It's known as a, national preservation in this community. It's the first city park west of the Mississippi River. And they tried to really keep it that way. Surrounded by these gorgeous Victorian row houses that are, from the 1800s that, people come in and maintain and kind of keep to their original grandeur. And then this park, it's about 30 acres and it's got, the original wrought iron fencing, statues, no modern park amenities, no power lines, no backstops, bleachers, and the like. I mean, they really kept it to its original form. And so, two clubs there, the St. Louis Perfectos and the Lafayette Square Cyclone, play there. They actually had a Shepherd Barkley Festival last weekend, and again they play the game quite a bit, and have festivals there, and they're always playing in that northwest corner of the park, and always welcome and friendly to anybody who wants to come by and ask questions. And I was just taking a walk in the park and saw the game, looked kind of interesting, was a little bit confused at first. They were an inning ended on a bound catch, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, is the umpire nearsighted? Like, what's up? So this gentleman, Jonathan Charlie Brown Ferris, who's unfortunately is since passed, but he just opened up and just started explaining the game to me. And in 15 minutes he explained gameplay, explained the rules, the etiquette, the fines, the jargon, and I was just hooked. I thought it was wonderful. I was probably a little too shy to jump in and start playing, even though I'm sure they would have allowed me. But it just kind of stuck with me and just lingered, and that memory has just stuck with me from the time I started writing the book and even to today.
So 10 years ago, you come across the Cyclone, and how long into this 10-year relationship did you realize you wanted to write a book?
Like I said, I've wanted to write a book since probably college, but it's where do you find the time, right? But like everything during the pandemic, people started taking up hobbies, and I'm probably a harsh critic on myself, but I kind of feel like writing is probably one of the few things that I'm not terrible at. So I said, let's go ahead and give this a whirl. And so it started. It was like a 2-year journey to get this thing to print, but I enjoyed the process. It wasn't just a grind to get there. So I would look forward to working my 9 to 5, putting the kids to bed, and then just diving into the world of baseball history. And I'm glad I did it.
That's
Hundreds of diapers. Hundreds of diapers were
Hundreds of
changed in this
diapers.
process.
Hundreds of diapers.
Yeah, you sometimes feel like you'll never stop changing diapers.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you got had such a great first experience with vintage baseball and with a fantastic club and individual and this wealth of knowledge. When and who were the first people you were reaching out to when you started writing, like that wasn't associated with the St. Louis area?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of take a top-down approach. So I started with the BBVA and Bob Sampson, who's written some books himself, and just couldn't be a nicer guy. He pointed me to a couple books to get started. A great one by Peter Morris, but Didn't We Have Fun Yet, about the Pioneer era, and of course, Gentleman Jim Toodle's book on vintage baseball from 2011, which, for the record, I'm not competing with that work. That is an authoritative, everything compendium of vintage baseball, and I actually cited it quite a bit in my work. So this is more of a history and a human interest piece.
Bob Sampson, wonderful guy. Everybody can go back in the archives, and you don't even have to go back that far. I'm going to assume this is one of the episodes Jack listened to. Am I right, Bob Sampson?
I'm trying to remember, but I think I just reached out to Bob directly. He was the VBBA historian, still is, and just trading emails with him. And you talk to somebody and they tell you to talk to 15 other people, so it just kind of propagated. And I think that just speaks to the tight knit community you guys have.
Very true.
Oh, I wasn't saying that you used us as why you contacted Bob Sampson. No, he's much too big for us to be the reference point on that. So you're dealing with the local St. Louis club, and you start a process. Obviously, you wanted to bounce around the United States when you're looking at clubs. So you're using the VBBA as a reference, and everybody. I assume that all of these clubs on your list were pretty complimentary, but I'm going to ask, was there a team that didn't want to be part of the book? You don't have to name them.
Yeah, no, there were no unequivocal no's, but there were some folks that, responded initially and then kind of just, kind of stopped after that, or a few that didn't respond, but nobody was impolite or rude about it. I think it was kind of a pseudo random process, but I think that some of these clubs, just all these clubs I covered, you can just tell from their Facebook and their blogs, just the quality of documentation records they keep. It just spoke to how serious they take this, and that kind of tipped me off to reach out. And these folks just were just so helpful, wanting to do anything to help the project, and I'm very thankful for it.
I guess when you throw out there that you're also a member of Sabre, that carries some weight as well. Writing a book, member of Sabre, vintage baseball. I mean, what's the chapter of Sabre that you're a part of?
It's the Bob Gregg St. Louis chapter, which is funny because I live in Columbia, Missouri, which is basically halfway between St. Louis and Kansas City. But I'm a St. Louis guy, and they do offer virtual meetings and so forth, and hoping to do a presentation at both, actually.
So let's go through the clubs a little bit and talk about your experience with them. There was the Mountain Athletic Club from New York. Was Colin Miller your contact on that?
He was, yeah. I mean, just fantastic. I mean, he like I said, I feel like these chapters, the subjects wrote them for me. I'm just the scribe. I mean, their blogs, their interviews, their email interviews, their phone interviews, the pictures they contributed. It was just basically just packaging what they've already provided. I mean, that was, I'm a relative outsider to vintage baseball. I'm not here to, weigh in on my opinion. I'm here to, capture it from the folks that make this such a great thing. So Colin is, a plethora of knowledge, and, just incredible photos, just incredible perspective, and, has been a huge supporter of the book.
Colin's a supporter of the show. He is so full of knowledge. We did 2 episodes with him in our archives, and I know I look forward to meeting him someday and having some of his passion and knowledge rub off on me. Rudy, have you ever met Colin? You were in New York.
No, no. Well, not no. I'm gonna say we've virtually met many a times. I believe we might have both been in Gettysburg once or twice, but never really crossed paths officially.
That's all right. I'd be jealous. So then you move on to the Ohio Village Lady Diamonds, and the fine lasses from the Columbus area that Rudy is very knowledgeable of, because his mother had quite an influence on that club. Rudy, tell Jack about your mother.
My mother and Pam Coons were the original I almost said forefathers. No, they were the individuals who started the Lady Diamonds baseball club with the Ohio Historical Society at that time. So yeah, the Diamonds hold a special place in all of our hearts for sure here in Ohio. So that's I was really excited to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you who your contact was with the Lady Diamonds.
Yeah, Jackie Forkler, she was just fantastic. I mean, has played for, I think she's going on over a quarter century with the program and had captained it. And I actually started with Don Big Bad Anderson, who's been with the Muffins since I want to say the mid '80s. And he said you got to talk to Jackie. And so the quality of the referrals was outstanding. I'll say that throughout this whole project.
Yeah, that's amazing. The Jackie is a fantastic, like, you know how difficult, I'm sure you've heard through your conversations how difficult it is to maintain a vintage baseball club and maintain longevity. And the fact that the Diamonds have been around for, since the early 90s is a testament to people like Jackie who have shown up and are passionate and they stay involved in the community. I'm so glad you got a chance to talk to Jackie.
Yeah. I mean, just a very inspiring story, and also just so encouraging how they've been able to, just continue carrying on the game, from, mother to daughter, mother to daughter-in-law, and just to, they've got Ohio State students, they've got, senior citizens. I mean, it's just it's just incredible how they're able to, engage so many different, walks of life.
Absolutely. I don't want to hear complaining out of any club talking about how they can't get people to show up. You can't hold a candle to what the Diamonds have been dealing with since their inception. So the fact that the Diamonds still are making it happen makes me very happy.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite thing about the Diamonds is they're having fun.
Oh gosh.
I mean, you can see it on their face. We interviewed some of the Diamonds at the Ohio Cup last year, and the smiles just don't go away whenever they're out there. It's what attracted us to bring them in to talk to them, because they were having way more fun than everybody else. And incredible ladies that I've met with the Diamonds. Rudy knows all of them. It's not fair. Then you went on to the Akron Black Stockings, and it's just coincidental that Rudy and I are taking the podcast on the road July 8th and 9th to the Akron Cup. Well, actually, Rudy is the captain of the Columbus Capitals vintage baseball club. So they're actually playing in the Akron Cup, but we're doing color and play-by-play of the Akron Cup, and also making our videos of the games on the main field. And we'll be doing Gingerly Gentleman and Mightiest Striker that night on the 8th. Anyway, I got that plug out of the way. I would assume that your contact with the Akron Black Stockings was a Mr. Scott Hamlin. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Just fantastic, and great player too.
Who referred Tiny to you? I want to know that person.
I started with the Black Stockings, club email, I think he was kind of doing it all as I think initially he was handling some of the web stuff, and then he's got Freight Train, and I'm blanking on the other name.
Beard.
I'm in trouble. Yeah. Jarvis and Zonfo. Yep. So, but yeah, he was kind of, manning the emails back then, and just incredible source of information, and just a cool club. And they actually, made the cover in front of Stan Hewitt Hall. So I just thought it was, just a fantastic picture of a panoramic view with an incredible backdrop. They're playing the Addison Mountain Stars, it's an all NAVB cover. So
I don't know if you're aware of the monster you've created now that you've put Tiny and the Akron Black Stockings prominently in this publication, but I'm only bringing that up because Tiny sent me a text message of an excerpt of the book that he talks about the infamous Norton Cider Festival match between, and He's like he just wanted to let me know that now it's official because it's in print. So he's
Well, if anything's untrue, you can blame him because I'm purely just the recorder.
no, it's all true. He's just excited that now it's like in print forever. So
For sure.
Have you, before we get to the other couple of clubs, have you been to any of these other locations besides the St. Louis location?
Believe it or not, no. I hope to change that. I'd love to at least go to the granddaddy of them all in Columbus, but like I said, I'm at a stage in life where I don't travel a lot, and I'm actually, as my kids grow older, maybe that changes, but and I'm actually kind of, in between, I've worked in corporate for 15 years, but I'm actually starting as a university professor in the fall. So I've got a lot of ramp up time for that as well.
You have
Told
your
you.
kids cool. Yeah.
But before we go on to the other teams, Rudy, it's important for us to pause right now and acknowledge the fact that the Roller Out the Barrel Vintage Baseball podcast was used as a point of reference in this book. I want to know, are we mentioned in the book or are we just mentioned in references? I want to know.
No, you guys absolutely are. I actually took some quotes from the interview with Scott. I think, Matthew, I think you talked about your first encounter with the Black Stockings. I think it was Ohio Cup. You were probably subbing. I think you were subbing for a Minnesota team, and you had that you hit that nice single and you kind of casually overextended first, and they kept their thinking caps on and pulled a fast one on you, and so you kind of realized that's who the Black Stockings were, and of course Rudy's got a great quote about kind of dreading every time Tiny squares up because it's going to be a line drive and it's going to be real hard to catch.
Yes.
Yes, the Black Stockings introduced me to the fact that I was going to the Ohio Cup and I had heard it was just a very laid back and happy atmosphere. And Mr. Hamblin reminded me that there's some people still playing baseball out here. And so that was a nice, how do you do? And so I don't think I've ever let my guard down since that play. So that's embarrassing. All right, moving on. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Then you went to and got some of the West Coast, and you got Arizona's Fort Verde Excelsiors. What was your experience with that club?
Yeah, so I had initially, I wanted to get some West Coast, representation. I had actually initially reached out to the Prescott Champions, and I don't know if you're familiar with the late Mike Ace Adrian, just an absolute legend. And he had the book's actually dedicated partly to his memory, just because he had offered to help with a project even in his final days. But he referred to me to his good friend Bill Helm, and Bill was the captain of Fort Verde at the time, and has since moved up to Bellingham, Washington, where he's starting a club, the Whatcom. They were the Bay Stars, and now they're the Aces in honor of his good friend Mike. So it's just couldn't have a better ambassador of the game to spread the game to the far corners of the country. So appreciate Bill for that.
We also had Bill Helm on the show talking about the VBBA conference. Rudy, are we running out of people to interview?
No, we have finally found like the individual that's connecting all of the pieces that we're putting out there. This is amazing.
That's good. I'm glad to be the glue.
Bill Helm has so much knowledge that we didn't even get to because all we did was talk about the conference with him. So I feel like we shortchanged him, but I'm sure we'll bring up Bill again. Another club, the last club I see on the list here is the Washington State's Whatcom Aces. I've never heard of them.
Well, that's the club Bill is starting up in Northwest Washington. I mean, you think about the Pacific Northwest. To his knowledge, there wasn't a club north of Portland. So it's a tall order. I mean, Seattle's a big city, but even I haven't mentioned in the book, Alexander Cartwright's however many generations of I think it's his great grandson, or I'd have to go back and double check, but he had attempted to start a league back in '06 up there, and it kind of fizzled. So it's a tall order. I think Bill mentions just the frequent rains, and it's a softball's a huge deal up there, but it's he's had some informational meetings and some practices and things like that, and it's just proof that vintage baseball can thrive anywhere, just with the right exposure.
Do they still exist right now?
I'm not sure. He's got his Facebook page up. I think it's just work in progress, but I won't speak on Bill's behalf.
We'd love to talk to somebody associated with the Whatcom Aces in Washington and see what that episode would turn into. That would be great. Hey, Jack, what was your relationship with baseball before you ran across the vintage style?
Sure. Well, lifelong Cardinals fan, was a season ticket holder for 10 years over in the bleachers. It's hard to be a fan today, but I guess we're getting our well-deserved dose of humble pie, being the self-anointed best fans in baseball, and now sitting in the cellar of the NL Central. But always have loved the game of baseball, really at all levels. Not much of a player. I think I quit at about fifth grade. I don't have the best hand-eye coordination. I'm more of a runner, so to speak. My wife is a big runner, and when you marry a runner, you become a runner yourself. So, definitely active, but not great hand-eye. But I would love to pick up vintage baseball. When the time's right, because it's something for everybody. Most of these teams have no ability requirements, and I think that's one part of the appeal.
Yeah, there's all kinds of skill levels, all kinds of rules, as you came across that actually get played. Vintage baseball is not this one set of rule umbrella over the entire country. There's many different years that get used. There's many different skill levels on purpose. There are clubs that are use it as a club atmosphere and a family atmosphere, and they do it for heck, kind of like when it was in its infancy, for exercise, for fun, to get together. And then there's the clubs that turned it into a competition, which also happened accurately back after the Civil War. So, yeah, vintage baseball, really cool. Hey, Jack, how old are you?
I am I'm almost 40, but I'm not shying away from it. I'm a very youthful 39.
So you're right at vintage baseball's prime, right there. You're right at the 40, right where you need to be. Get in some years right now, because your kids are not going to allow you to do it all the time.
Yeah, no, I got that going against me, and there is no club in Columbia, Missouri. So I've also taken that as a to-do. I would love to at least get some clubs, host an exhibition game. I know the St. Louis Brown Stockings have come and done exhibition games, the Topeka Westerns. So, I would love to, hopefully broker some of that, revive local interest, and go from there.
When you had a relationship with baseball, as far as you understood the game of baseball, then you come across vintage baseball and you're listening to the gentleman explain the rules, and then you're experiencing the rules as all these clubs you talk to, and you're writing a book. What were a couple of the rules that just really took hold of you, and you just had to re-examine a couple of times?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody says the bound catch. I think the fair foul rules, pretty interesting as well. I talk about in the book that the no strike zone. I mean, that's like the leading cause of arguments and ejections in today's baseball. You talk about, I talk about Roberto Alomar, spitting in John Hirschbeck's face. I mean, it's like that's the biggest point of conflict in all of modern baseball. But with vintage baseball, or at least if you're playing by the 1860s rules, very hard to strike out. You can do it, but you got to go out swinging, which is good. It's especially for people with bad hand eye like myself. So yeah, those were, I think, the no gloves, of course. Trying to think of a few other. Those are the big ones that really jumped out.
Once again, the name of the book is Vintage Baseball's Enduring Legacy. You can see the Akron Black Stockings right on the cover. Seems wrong. I see from your release, Jack, that it's from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. What is your relationship with Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania? Is that just where the book company is from?
Yeah. So Poco Press, the publisher is J. Thomas Hetrick. He's also a 19th century baseball author himself. He's written some great stuff. One on Chris Von der Ahe, the founder of the St. Louis Browns, and probably one of the reasons for Sunday baseball and beer sales. So he was actually on the Hall of Fame ballot with Doc Adams a few years ago. Fell well short, but that, and also if you're familiar with the old Cleveland Spiders. Probably the worst team of all time in 1899. I think they went 20 and 134. So he wrote a fantastic book on that. So please check it out.
You studied at Miami University. Is that Ohio or Florida?
Yeah, it's the Ohio one. So I brought my winter coat, but I was there when Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback. So football became a real big deal.
Yeah.
Is football a really big deal to you personally right now?
Yeah, I would say I'm a college football junkie. I kind of have we don't choose our superpowers, but I could probably tell you every college mascot, at least in the D1 space.
Oh,
all right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, come on.
I mean, yeah, you guys can see me. You can see I'm not Googling.
I want you to rattle off all of the Big Ten mascots as fast as you can go.
Oh man, Spartans, Wolverines, Buckeyes, Hoosiers, Boilermakers, Gophers, Cornhuskers, Terrapins, Scarlet Knights. Who am I leaving out? Illini. Pressure. Badgers, Nittany Lions, Hawkeyes, Wildcats. Is that everybody?
I think he got him.
Well, he only said Illini for Illinois. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to check the judges on this one. That one counts. The fact that he got the Scarlet Knights.
I
thought that was.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking he was going to get tripped up on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wow.
Well, football. Interesting question. For a gentleman living 2 miles outside of St. Louis, you lost the NFL team. The Battlehawks came in from the XFL, and they were selling a ton of tickets. They're the only XFL team selling a ton of tickets, and they were before when they tried this XFL thing just a few years ago. They were doing the same thing. What is the deal? Why doesn't St. Louis have an NFL team right now?
Well, it can be started. Well, so we lost the Arizona Cardinals too back in 1987. And I will say that was shame on us because they wanted a stadium deal and we told them to pound sand, so they literally went to the sand. And then with the Rams though, we moved mountains to get them a stadium deal, but that was I think that was predetermined. But they paid $800 million to make it go away, and it's water under the bridge. But I've never really been much of an NFL guy. I've always been a college guy. I take my football in on Saturdays.
I like it.
Are you following the Miami of Ohio club as your top club, or is there a club that you're really is number one?
Yeah, well, I mean, I live in Columbia, Missouri, where the University of Missouri is. So we're in the SEC. We're a bit of bottom feeders, but this is kind of a make or break year for our coach Eli Drinkwitz, and hope always springs eternal in the springtime. So we'll see. The SEC is not getting any easier, but with Oklahoma and Texas joining, but it's just cool to be a part of it. I mean, there's no place more southern than northern Missouri, but whatever. They wanted the St. Louis Kansas City TV market, so we gladly accepted.
I love it. What is, in your opinion, the greatest college football game ever played?
Oh man.
Ooh.
Gosh, that's a
Ooh.
tough one. Um, I I'm trying to think. I mean, there was what was there, that 7 overtime one with Penn State and Illinois. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was kind of at the expense of it. You know, basically any big game Mizzou wins, which you know, there haven't been that many, but back in 2007 with Chase Daniel, and they ended the year #1 overall. They beat Kansas, who was actually ranked #2 at Arrowhead in Kansas City. I couldn't afford tickets, but I was in the parking lot. So yeah, I think that one's up there for me. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a very long list.
Nice.
Chase Daniels, richest backup quarterback ever, probably.
Oh yeah, he's managed to keep his brains, and I think he's actually doing some commentary as well. So I don't feel sorry for him. He's got a good future.
But the greatest college football game ever played is when the punter for Michigan, Blake O'Neill, fumbled the snap and was unable to get the punt off, and fumbled it again, only to see Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson return the loose ball 38 yards for the game-winning touchdown for a 27-23 Spartans win over Michigan Wolverines. I'm just saying.
All right, now I know which Michigan team you root for. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. I was going to say, if you were a Go Blue guy, that might be a little hard because Rudy, I'm assuming you're a Buckeyes guy being in Columbus.
No, I actually, so the Buckeyes are the reason that I went to Ohio University. So
Bobcats. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I dabble. My father is a huge Texas Longhorns fan, so the greatest game ever played in our household is when Texas beat USC in the Rose Bowl, but that's about it.
Very cool.
Once again, the book is Vintage Baseball's Enduring Legacy, written by Jack Pelikan. You can find it on Amazon and everywhere else. Jack, we actually posted this book, and that we were going to be interviewing you, and one of our faithful listeners bought a copy a minute later of this book. So we're at least responsible for a copy of your book being. We know that for sure.
Wouldn't even matter. I had fun.
They call that the roller out the barrel bump. That's what they call that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got stroke in this community. Jack, thanks so much for coming on the show. You know what's really great is somebody who gets so passionate about vintage baseball and hasn't played it, has only seen it, has only participated in conversations about it, and gets passionate.
Yeah, I'll say I haven't played it yet, but you know, I hope to change that, because you know, it's just too good to pass up.
Before we let you go, we're actually going to do a little giving you the old pepper. It's a thing we do with guests. Quick questions with quick answers, just to get to know you better, Jack. Here we go. What is your favorite color of ink?
I'll go black.
How do you eat an Oreo?
After dunking it in milk.
What is your average bedtime?
About 9:45 p.m.
Give us one of your biggest do-it-yourself home improvement fails.
Oh, there's probably a lot of them. I hung about a 27-foot swing for my kids. It works, but I almost fell and ended up in the ER like 20 times. So yeah, I guess that's probably a near fail. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, I'm more of an outsourcer.
Paper, rock, or scissors?
I'll go rock.
Name a movie that's made you cry.
I honestly can't think of it, so I'll just say Titanic.
Don't say time. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Play it.
They came. No. They came out with another video of how the Titanic, not what caused it to sink, but they came out with another video of how it sank to the bottom, like what happened during that. Like, let's let it go, people.
No. No, too soon.
It's
Don't you dare.
it broke apart. People died. It floated to the bottom. Why are we so obsessed
No,
with how
now
it
it's floated.
floated?
Now it's on me. I did cry as a kid watching Ghostbusters when they blasted Stay Puft, because the Marshmallow Man, he just looked so cuddly. It was I didn't know he was so sinister.
I had to explain it to my son literally last week. He's like, but he's smiling. He looks like a good guy. And I was like, no, he's not. Don't. So,
yeah.
Titanic was a better answer, Jack. All right, back to it. Can you name me, and I know that you can, an overrated Major League Baseball player from any time in history?
Oh, man. Gosh. I hate to say it, but Harold Baines. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's in the Hall very good.
I agree with this sentiment. What was your first car?
Oh, a 1990 maroon Chevy Corsica.
What was your first pet?
First pet had a black Labrador named Molly.
Name something that you are terrible at, but you just keep doing.
Mm. Home improvement.
I'm with you there, but that's more out of necessity. That's not out of want. Trey Turner just hit a second home run against the Tigers just now. Unbelievable. What is one of your favorite smells?
Popcorn. Yeah, I don't know. We make a lot of popcorn in our house.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I think I wanted to pitch for the Cardinals, but that became abundantly clear at about the age of 4.
Well, and Wainwright won't ever go away, so no spots open.
Yeah, we're great for close tutelage.
Name your favorite villain.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go like literal here, because I guess I'm like a writer now. But I'm gonna go with Fortinbras from Hamlet. I think he's the king of Norway. He waits in the wing and then he makes his move at the end, and he's very reverent of Hamlet. I mean, I know I'm getting kind of deep here, but
No.
I think he's a classic literary villain. He's classy, and he gets what he wants.
And now it's time for Rudy Frias Talks Theater.
No one ever brings up that. No one talks about Fortinbras. No one does. That's amazing. Yes. Yes.
Glad you like the answer.
It was all right.
I'll tell you more about it later, Barrel Roller. Don't worry.
Thank you. Don't talk down to me. If you were played by an actor in a movie, who would you think would do a good job with that?
Oh man. I'm just going to go John Hamm, because I'm a St. Louis guy and he's awesome. Don Draper,
You were a season ticket holder for the bleachers for the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis, much like Kansas City, known for their tailgating and barbecue and stuff like that. Best place to get barbecue in St. Louis.
It's kind of two camps. Some people say Pappy's, but I go Sugar Fire. I think they just got, they got more stuff, more sauces, better sides.
And that's going to do it for us, Jack. Thank you so much for joining the show. You were a delight. Rudy,
Jack,
how'd you like that?
Oh my gosh. Like, first, let me take this moment to speak to anybody in the community that might be listening. Jack is the perfect example of why the community is, I believe, in my humble opinion, so very special, because what we are doing is much more than just putting on funny looking outfits and playing baseball, where there's a educational element, and there's also a community building element to this, and the inclusivity of our community, that to bring Jack in, talk about baseball, welcome Jack in with his questions, and help him put together this labor of love, this amazing book that I can't encourage people enough to go out and get, because Jack, I'm blown away by this. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for the community, and you will suit up and play a vintage baseball match. It's going to happen. You're in the prime years of your vintage baseball career here. I can't wait for it to happen.
I would love to. Just keep asking. I'm going to have to say yes.
There you go.
Once again, the book's name is Vintage Baseball's Enduring Legacy, and why you should buy this book is there's a lot of books about vintage baseball, but you're getting a perspective from all over the country in this book, and you don't get that in a lot of the books, which all the other books are fine too. I'm not saying, but this one's going to give you don't understand how people in Arizona and Washington or California, you don't understand if you're from the Midwest how they're playing it out there, or maybe on the East Coast, and the ladies. I mean, you got it all in this book. So we all look forward to reading it. And thank you once again for being on the show, Jack.
Oh, thank you both. It was a pleasure.
And you're always welcome back to talk more about baseball and college football. So we got you.
Anytime.
Hey,
right,
have a good evening.
You as well. Take care. All right. Bye.
That was an incredible interview.
My gosh, we're not. Has it ever dawned on you? Have you ever had the thought that, like, not to go full Wayne and Garth, but we're not worthy? Like just another guest that we're like, how did this happen? What? How?
Oh, I'm definitely. I've felt it all season 4. I'm not worthy of the guests that we've had in season 4 for sure. But we've gotten lucky.
It just blows my mind once again. Like, this individual is not necessarily associated with a particular club. Saw vintage baseball being played, got connected, had a conversation with some individuals, and the next thing you know, it's like they were sending him virtually across the country to meet the many people, the many characters of the vintage baseball community. It's beautiful.
Rudy, let's take a second to talk about our upcoming experience at the Akron Cup. Tell everybody what the format normally is for the Akron Cup.
The current Akron Cup format that I believe there is there are 2 divisions, and teams play each other in those divisions, and the 2 teams that come out of those divisions with the best record will play each other on Sunday for the actual Akron Cup trophy, which is different from what it used to be, where it was more of the Akron Cup was more of a name for the festival, the event of it. Still amazing, still a fantastic event, but now it's got, you get a little bit, the games have a little bit more pizzazz, a little more clip to them now, because everybody's playing for something.
See how many of the clubs attending you can name off. There's 10 of them.
There's 10. I'm going to say the Akron Black Stockings. I'm going to say the Canal Fulton Mules, the Canal Dover Red Legs. No Red Legs. Oh, okay.
No Mules.
No Mules.
No
What?
Mules.
That's shocking.
They're not on the list. They're not
shocked.
on the list.
I'm shocked. Okay, so Dover, we got the Red Legs, we got the Black Stockings, we've got Addison Mountain Stars, we have the Canton Cornshuckers, we have the Alliance Crossing Rails. There will be the Columbus Capitals, obviously. So that's 7. I got 7.
No, that's 6.
That's 7.
You didn't say you put up 6 because you were going to say something, and then you said, "Oh, well, the Columbus Capitals." Boom, and you named 7, but you never named 6.
No, and then there's a. Let me ask.
Don't know me. You don't know me.
Listen, no, I was right. My math is right. Check the tape. I mean, in the past, they've had so many clubs. They've had the Cleveland Blues. They've had the Lottie Das. They've had. I mean, who are some of the clubs I'm missing?
You're missing the Walker Tavern Wheels.
Oh my gosh, they're coming.
You're missing the Rochester Grangers.
Oh my gosh, they're coming.
You're missing the Bear Clan of Flat
No
Rock.
way.
Yeah.
Holy crap. We're not going to win a single game.
Must be finished baseball season. You can't. You know what? You did it in reverse. You can't appreciate winning all the time unless you lose, right?
Well, yeah.
But you in your baseball career came out winning all the time, and you've done it in reverse.
No. We've crescendoed. We've hit the top mountaintop, and now we're just tumbling down. It's okay. That is a great pool of clubs. I mean, kudos to the Akron Black Stockings for putting in the work and getting clubs like that to attend the event. That's going to be really great. That's going to be some great baseball for people.
It's going to be great baseball. It's going to be great video content for us.
Yeah.
For sure, because we're going to have a lot of intense matches.
A lot of
And also, we got the Gingerly Gentleman and the Mightiest Striker. And when you're pulling people from that talent pool, the Mightiest Striker is going to be crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
By the way, we have our first official entrant into the Mightiest Striker from the Addison Mountain Stars, Jeff the Wall Bender.
Oh. Whoa.
So every club in Akron gets one Gingerly Gentleman and one Mightiest Striker, and then there's going to be spots left over. So then there's going to be a draft of the order that they get to pick one of those spots. So some clubs are going to have two Mightiest Strikers, and some are going to have two Gingerly Gentlemen. That's the way that's going to go.
We're going to have to be very mindful about our batteries, because I really desperately want the community to be able to see the Gingerly Gentleman and the Mightiest Striker. Because the people who got to witness those at this little rinky-dink event called the Michigan Vintage Baseball Festival, that's all they raved about. It was such a fantastic time, and I really hope we get that done on video.
And we're going to get it on video.
Oh yeah.
And the best part is we have volunteers and people to help this time. So many that you're not going to have to be in the outfield.
What? No.
Yeah, we get to actually do the play call of the Gingerly Gentleman and Mightiest Striker.
This is going to be a great time.
Or one of us will with an additional host because I have to call it, out there. So I won't be recording, but anyway. But anyway, my voice travels, so I'll probably be all over the recording. Yeah, so I can't wait. The Orange Slice moonshine, the slices came in the mail the other day, and also we looked up the recipe for the watermelon jalapeno. That is not for anybody except you, me, and Amy.
Yes.
Is your wife coming?
Fingers crossed. We might be bringing the whole crew. So we're gluttons for punishment. So yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's hard to get up the whole family to come to one of these deals, but if you're gonna do that, this is probably one of the places to do that at. So this and Worlds, that's probably the only one she sees, right?
Pretty much. Yep.
Not shabby.
Yeah,
not too shabby for those to be the two events that you pack up the entire crew for.
She has a particular taste, and she only picks the finest of events to attend. So it's
no doubt.
My wife is a gym.
We're only about a minute away from being right on the nose for an hour. Rudy, did you want to go ahead and sing something?
I would love to sing something. However, the acoustics are all off in this room. I wouldn't sound good.
Face the facts about me and you. A love unspecified. Though I'm proud to call you Mocha Bear, the crowd will always talk and stare. I feel exactly those feelings too, and that's why I keep them inside. 'Cause this bear can't bear the world's disdain, and sometimes it's easier to hide than explain. Oh, God, love, that's all it is. God, love, he's mine, I'm his. There's nothing gay about it, it's alright. You asked me about this thing we share, and he tenderly replied, it's guy love between two guys.